Hey, welcome back. It's late. You're up, maybe driving, maybe just can't sleep. The world feels quiet, but the airwaves are never truly silent. They're a river of information, of stories, of signals we trust. But what happens when that signal is broken? When something or someone reaches in and replaces your reality with theirs? I'm Ibnul J. Farabi, and this is the Unexplained Archive. Tonight, we're pulling a case from the vault that is, in many ways, the perfect crime. It didn't happen in a shadowy alley or a locked room. It happened in the most public space imaginable, your living room. On November 22, 1987, Chicago's television signals were hijacked, not by a terrorist group or a foreign power, but by a grinning, stuttering, digitally distorted puppet named Max Headroom. And to this day, we have no idea who did it or why. Picture it. WGN, Chicago's superstation, is broadcasting its nightly 9 o'clock news. Anchorman Dan Roan is deep into a sports report, and then the screen flickers. The audio distorts. For 28 seconds, the signal is replaced by a bizarre, silent scene. A figure in a Max Headroom mask sitting oddly against a rotating background of industrial noise. And then it's gone. The news returns, anchors baffled. A technical glitch, they assume. A strange one, but a glitch. But that was just the test run. About 2 hours later, over on PBS station WTTW, something far more elaborate unfolds. It's during an episode of Doctor Who. The Doctor is in a cliffhanger, and then the screen goes to static, and a new figure appears. This one is also wearing a Max Headroom mask, but with sunglasses. He's in a dim room, with a sheet or a curtain as a backdrop, and he starts to speak. Or rather, his electronically manipulated voice, that iconic stutter, fills the air. "Your love is fading," he says. The transmission is unstable, the video rolling. He drinks a can of Pepsi, smacks his lips, and then proceeds to spank a woman dressed as a French maid with a fly swatter, while moaning, "They're coming to get me." He rants about being a Coca-Cola product, about clutch cargo, an old cartoon. He drops his pants, bares his rear, and as a technician finally regains control, the last thing heard is his distorted voice singing the theme to the Dick Van Dyke Show. And then, poof, he vanished, as completely as he arrived. This wasn't just random interference. This was a broadcast intrusion, a takeover of a major television signal. And the technical skill required was immense. You'd need to know the exact transmission frequencies of these powerful stations. You'd need a transmitter strong enough to overpower theirs, likely from a high vantage point near the Sears Tower, where WGN's antenna was. This was the work of someone, or a small group, with serious engineering know-how. A prankster with a master's degree in electronics. And that's what makes this so fascinating to me, as an engineer. The sheer audacity of the how. It's a puzzle box of signal strength, line-of-sight vectors, and vintage video equipment. But the why is the true mystery. This wasn't a political statement. It wasn't a ransom demand. It was performance art? A joke? A personal challenge? The content was surreal, nonsensical, layered with obscure pop culture references from the 60s. The Max Headroom character himself was a digitally fragmented TV personality, a symbol of broadcast corruption. Was the intruder making a meta-commentary on television itself? Or was it just the most elaborate because I can in history? The choice of targets is telling. WGN first, a brief, silent test. Then, the more complex attack on the public broadcaster WTTW during the cult favorite Doctor Who. This feels targeted at a specific, perhaps geekier, audience. Someone showing off for their peers. The FBI investigated. They had suspects. There was chatter in the amateur radio and early hacker communities. The dominant theory points to a group of video technicians and pirate radio enthusiasts, possibly linked to a local TV repair shop or a college engineering department. The fly swatter, the specific brand of which was mentioned, was a clue. The technical knowledge was a clue, but no one was ever caught. No one ever confessed. And over time, the intrusion transformed from a federal crime into a piece of underground folklore. The perpetrators achieved a kind of perfect, anonymous fame. They pulled off a stunning technical feat, delivered a message that was utterly meaningless, and disappeared into the static of history. I think about this case often, especially now. We live in an age of deep fakes, of hacked streams, of digital misinformation that floods our feeds. But in 1987, this was a physical, analog miracle. Someone literally pierced the veil of the broadcast tower, the most authoritative voice in a community, and replaced it with pure, unadulterated weirdness. There was no internet to spread it. It lived and died in that moment for those viewers. Its legend grew precisely because it was so ephemeral, a ghost in the television. And that's the haunting question that remains. Who were they? Are they still out there, now in their 50s or 60s, a retired engineer or a video editor who secretly holds the key to one of broadcasting's greatest mysteries? Do they ever watch that grainy footage on YouTube, now seen by millions, and smile to themselves? The fact that they've never come forward is, to me, the most compelling part of the story. It suggests the act itself was the entire point. Not fame, not money, not ideology. Just the proof that it could be done. A signature etched onto the evening sky of a city. In a world of constant surveillance and digital footprints, the clean getaway of the Max Headroom intruder feels almost mythical. They hacked reality itself for less than 3 minutes total and left behind only questions wrapped in a mask of static. They reminded us that the signals we take for granted are fragile, that the stories flowing into our homes can be interrupted, if only for a moment, by a story of someone else's making. Thanks for listening to this archive entry. If you have a theory or remember seeing this live back in '87, I'd love to hear from you. Share this episode with someone who loves a good mystery. For more deep dives into the unexplained, make sure you're subscribed to the Unexplained Archive wherever you get your podcasts. This is Ibnul J. Farabi from Light Not Studios. Until next time, keep questioning.